It's so important to just take action because you're going to learn a lot of stuff by just taking action. A lot of you guys obviously already know who I am, and you probably have heard my journey so far in real estate, but I'll go over it really quick. So I started my real estate business about 3 years ago. For 7 months straight, I spent a shit ton of money on leads, not making any money. On leads, on mentorships, on just a bunch of programs. It was ridiculous. Spent a bunch of money, not making any, not gaining any traction. For literally the first 4 months, I only generated one lead. I went on that appointment. I remember it was an appointment in Weymouth. I go there, and this lady got a property passed down from her parents, and there was like 3 other siblings involved. She wanted $387. Okay, I go in there, and there was another wholesaler going on the appointment as well. They obviously knew what the heck they were doing. They've been in the game for a little bit. I look after, lady ghosted me. I went on the appointment, gave the offer. Lady ended up ghosting me. I look back like a year later, that same wholesaler, because I remembered his name, I got his card and everything. I saw him on Deed. So it wasn't even a wholesaler, it was somebody that actually went and bought the property. So he ended up getting the deal over me. I got discouraged. I'm like, what the heck? This business must be fake. Finally, I run into virtual assistants. So this 4 months, right in the beginning of my career, I'm doing everything. I'm like driving for dollars. I'm learning on YouTube. I'm trying to talk to realtors on the MLS. Like I'm doing so many. I'll tell one story really quick with the MLS. It's like when I first started. And one of the main things that got me started was the MLS, just getting my feet wet. That's why it's so important to just take action because you're going to learn a lot of stuff by just taking action. So one thing I used to do, like I said, I was doing a bunch of different things, but one thing that I used to do was go on the MLS and I would look at deals every single day. No matter if I was going to put in an offer or go on the appointment or whatever, I would just analyze deals after deals after deals. And I wouldn't even put in an offer most of the time, but I would go on the MLS and I would say, okay, I have this fix and flip here in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. Let me go run an ARV really quick. And it used to take me like an hour to run ARVs and rehab costs and everything like that. But I would do that like 5 times a day. And that's what got me really quick at underwriting. So now I could see a deal, and we'll talk about the deal that I got down in Brockton. That one that I got in Brockton, I could analyze it in 2 seconds, and that's what helped me get the deal. And we'll talk about that when we go down to the flip. But I used to sit there and analyze these deals every single day. But sometimes what I would do is I would put in an offer and I would actually go on the appointment and try to get the deal. So I'm in Palmer, Massachusetts. I call this realtor. I'm like, hey, I see you have this deal here. Don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm like, can I like see the property or something? She's like, yeah, sure, come by. So I drive 2 hours. I think it's like almost 2 hours away. Drive there. And it was the weirdest thing. I've never seen anything like it. There was probably about this high, and every single one of the bedrooms, it was just 2 sticks, like this, and a piece of plywood. And it looked like their beds in every single bedroom. So I'm like, why would somebody sleep on that? Like, are they just putting a mattress on there? Like, what is going on? Then I go downstairs, and I see the wiring was crazy. Like, I've never seen wiring like this. I had a background of being in fix and flips and stuff before because my father's a drywaller, and that's who he done a lot of his work for, is fix and flippers and developers. So I can understand when I walk into a property like, okay, that doesn't look right. So I'm looking at the panel and everything like that for the electrical work. I'm like, that doesn't look right. So anyways, long story short, I end up going back home, submit the offer, I get it accepted. This is literally like 1.5 months into me doing real estate. And I'm like, yo, this shit is easy. Like, I'm like, let's go. So I got it under contract. And at the time I was working with one of my partners, and we were gonna flip this one, me and him. And he's going on the appointment with the contractor. So he was gonna have his contractor, because he had a connection with the contractor. He was gonna have his contractor go there, and me and him were gonna meet him there. This is the second time I was gonna go to the property. So we can get an estimate and everything like that. And as we're going there, I'm on my way there, and my boy hits me up and he's like, yo, Mike, did you see online what is going on with this house? And I'm like, no, I mean, I looked at the ARV. I think the ARV, no. He's like, no, not the ARV. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you didn't see the news articles? I'm like, no. He's like, this address is being seized by the feds, right? And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, bro. we could potentially buy this house and then the feds will just come and take it over. So I'm like, all right, what does that mean? We could still flip it. He's like, I don't know if you want to do that, bro, because this is our first flip. We got a lot of other stuff going on. I don't think it's a good idea to get into this property, right? Because we have a contractor there the week after that we buy this place. Feds knock on the door and they say that we're taking the property back. So I'm digging into it. I'm asking the realtor about what's going on. Come to find out, the realtor was not telling any of this. She knew what the heck was going on because while I was walking the property, I'm like asking her about the situation. Like, hey, what happened with the sellers? Why are the beds like this? Like, what was going on with this house? And she was just like, I don't know. The sellers just want to sell it. I bought a couple properties with them before, but they just said to sell this one. They didn't really give me much information. She was lying. Here's what happened. So they were running. There was like 5 different properties that got seized by the feds. They were running an operation where they were just growing a bunch of weed. That's why the electrical work was so crazy. That's why the beds looked like that, because they were actually not, well, they were beds, but they were for pot plants. That's where the pot plants slept, right? So come to find out, lady, so there was that house and then like 5 other houses. They had an operation going with like 10 different people, but there was 2 people that were super involved in it. They were at another property one day, at a bigger property. National Grid goes to that property, and National Grid gets a call, and they're like from one of their reps, and they're like, hey, I see that there's a $10,000 electricity bill over at that address. You guys might want to go check it out. So they send over 2 reps to go check it out, and here's what happens. 2 dudes answer the door, they close it really quick, and then the reps won't leave. So the National Grid reps won't leave. So they open the door again and give the guy like $10,000 in cash to leave, the National Grid guys, right? The National Grid guys go back to the office and snitch on the whole entire operation, and all the houses get seized. Anyways, I'm like, I'm not doing a seized house for my first house, so I'm not doing that. So then I go freaking 6 months with no traction, okay? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this business is just like insane. Come to find out, that type of stuff happens a lot with real estate. Like when you're getting into these real estate deals, every single one, there's some crazy stuff going on. I have a deal going on in Spencer, Mass right now, and it's almost like a teardown type of house. But every time one of our buyers goes there, the neighbor comes outside, right, and yells at the buyer, do not buy this house. It's a scam. They're trying to scam you, like, because they must have been one of the buyers or something like that. My dispo team was handling it, but that's one thing that we're dealing with. So you deal with so much stuff, but that's part of my journey. But anyways, so I go 4 months, like I said, only generating 1 lead. But the thing was, what was I doing? If anybody can see, out of all these things that I was doing, like, what was the one major thing that I was doing? Taking action. Like, I didn't give a shit. I was like, yo, I don't care. I am seeking to make this business work. And that's really all it takes. So it's like, all it really takes, even if you do not have any direction, if you're just taking freaking action and action and action, I promise you, you will stumble upon opportunities. I'll tell you, it won't be scalable if you don't have any guidance and direction, but at least you're going in there and you're taking the action and you're like, I am going to make this happen no matter what. And then what happens is, once you get the guidance, once you get somebody that has actually done it to give you like the structure of what to do, and you have that action-filled heart in you, that is going to help you scale. That's what's going to make you like really blow up.